like they should. Up and down the town, string man all around. Who ain't playing that what playing clown?
All the time, no matter where I go, no matter what I do, you're always on my mind. Saying this, I love you as my own. You are so dear to me.
The people of St. Kitts can boast of a rich and proud heritage in music, which continues to play a dynamic and powerful role in the lives of succeeding generations. And so as we pay tribute to this outstanding legacy, it is an honor to present the story of our music as seen through the eyes of some of the most accomplished practitioners of the musical art form. For many of them, their relationship with music began at an early age.
Competition, I say with Calypso, Ellie McDonald. For the things that do me last year really was wrong. When I heard that Ellie Mac lose, I said, well, I'm gonna walk the whole tongue and blues until somebody come and gave me a little news. They say last year I sang the wrong song. They say I wear the crown for too long. And with that they took out me eye and they shoot me tongue. But you know, and I know, last year they robbed me real bad. But tell them I say, that can't keep back the hardest heart.
In terms of recollection of music, I grew up listening to a wide variety of music actually. But Calypso being one of the music that we listen to here, I remember the days when I would listen to Mike's singing songs like 1, 2, 3. Those are the songs that I remember listening to. Back then, I started to look at Calypsonians. I could remember this old guy, they're called Backy. And he had a lot of antics and things that I would admire. And then along comes another Calypsonian who today everybody knows as Socrates.
Sadly, I'm not crying over spilt milk. What is done is done. But as a conscious Calypsonian seeking solution,
I looked at Socrates one year. He sang a song, Banjo Solo. That song, you know, gave me a lot of boost in Calypso. He then later came with a song, it was Politics Make Them Do That. And I started, it's kind of opened up something in me, paying attention to Calypso and Calypsonians. Because then those were the days with the Heatwaves tent, the old tent of the, not Grandmasters, because Grandmasters came years after. You're talking about the Jazz Brass International and the Grand Dash 2 tents. So those were the days I looked at those music. As a little boy, a young boy, not really a little boy, but as a young boy, I went out sometimes when I had a chance, and when you could, you went to the park. These days you didn't have walls or anything like that. There were fences like coconut boughs. You'd sneak a peek inside, or you'd climb a tree, you know, young boys would, and you look at these guys, you admire and look at these guys doing the thing.
But we got to ride that hard working, let we ride the hard working, I say ride the hard working highway. What's the message?
I can't remember a time when music wasn't a part of my life. One of my very earliest experience, memories of in direct contact with a musical instrument is one Thursday afternoon. My mom used to work at Royal Bank, and I ended up working for Royal Bank after that. But back in those days, Thursday afternoon was half day. And I remember one Thursday afternoon lying on the bed with my mother, and she took out this small organ, a Hohner, two-sided organ, and she started playing it. little kid. She died when I was 11 years old, so it had to be a while before that. And I took it, put it to my mouth, and out comes Michael Rowe to go to show, as if it was playing itself. So, well, I noticed. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna. That song is really easy to play because of how the notes are set up. But after doing it the first time, and I said, "Wow, this is easy. Did it again." And from there, started noticing which hole being how far away from each other hole and what this song was. In other words, I discovered intervals very young.
Yes, well, I go back to my childhood days where my parents had an accordion in the house, and I used to, at a very early age, try and play tunes on the accordion. But further to that, I was inspired by the people who played music just 2 houses away from where I lived, in the Black and White Hall, which was one of the important and prominent places in those days for the ordinary people to go and have a dance, you know. And people like Vincent Phillip, Stanley, a number of those fellas, you know, used to go and play music there, and they had dances there. So my interest grew from that point. And later on, in 1949, the Christmas of 1949, the steel band came on stream. And I recall that Christmas, there was a chap, Martin from College Street. We used to refer to as, we used to call him Barbarat. He was on the road playing the ping pong, you know, just had one ping pong. The information I had was that Mr. Matheson, the late Lloyd Matheson, had gone to Trinidad and had met people down there playing pans. And he brought back one of the pans with him to St. Kitts. And people were trying to get someone to play it, and for some reason or other, Barbarat got hold of it. I think it used to be Mrs. Wall's living room, I think, from my understanding. And he played it, and the tune he played was Georgie Porgy. Could not quite remember that very well. And then you had the Defense Force people from the Defense Force band, you know, like Manson, the late Manson, who died. Webb, who also is deceased. Hanley, Tony Hanley, I remember him playing the bass drum, and they had a lot of steels and so on. Swallow Martin, as we call him, and so on. So my interest even grew more, you know, and when I went back to school in 1950, I was required to write an essay on the activities that took place in 1949, and I wrote an essay with respect to what had happened during that Christmas season. And at the end of that year, 1950, I was on the road with a pan slung around my neck, playing in Boston Tigers steel band. And continued that through the whole decade of the 50s unto the 60s, you know. So it was a long way, and you know, I enjoyed every bit of it.
This was in what we call the primary school, about 10 years, when I was 10 years old, and it had to do with our annual school concerts, and headmistress at the time was a lady by the name of Miss Erica Walters from St. Paul's, and she gave me my first little stint on stage singing a song, and I would never forget Old Dog Tray, Old Dog Tray. And I can remember it as if I did it yesterday. And from then on, there was no looking back, because people just took to the sound of my voice, even though at that time I didn't think that I, sounded well enough for the applause that I got. So that's where it first started, in primary school.
Well, my recollection started when I was like about 5 years old. The older folks would have told me that my mother was a good musician, good dancer. My brother, played in Elimat for a number of years. It's Clive Scarborough. I have been around bands since I was 5. There was a band called the Mustang playing right around, about 100 yards from us around the Lush Street. And I used to attend the band house every night and enjoy the music, enjoy to see them guys playing with various instruments and things. So I have a good recollection of not only the Mustangs at the time, but the local string band and big drum that used to frequently come to town doing their jamming and stuff like that. So my recollection of that is from a very early age, and I enjoyed then, still enjoying it now.
You have to present yourself with class at all times. You go to the radio stations for interviews, you got to be right and tight. You go to meet so many different people from all over. Of course, I took Carnival to Sweden. I played in a Carnival in Sweden. They had costumes from Trinidad, and they had steel band from London, and we made a Carnival. Of course, we did play in a parade. In parade in Sweden, nobody behind the truck. You just go down the main street. The people come with the stores, they wave, and they go back in. There was nobody jumping and whining, but we played. But all that you have to learn. You have to discipline yourself, because some people can't play unless people in the face, a woman whining and man smoking and going on. That's not me. I learned to play for anybody. As a matter of fact, I had a motto when we started Shelby. I said 2 or 10, we jamming just like as if it's a million. So we said 2 or 10, we jamming still. So if we go in a dance and 2 people in there, we play the same way as if the dance full. We go on the same way, we have fun. Because the first time, like when we started touring in Canada and US, it's not all the dancers that were as patronized as we would have liked. Some of them we didn't get a lot of people, but we never stopped. We played the same. So if 5 people came, they left happy. And what did they do? You all missed a jam last night. G.I. Brass tear up the place. So next week you get 10. You had 5, 10, 15, 20, and it reached the point where we never fail, but you have to start small.
The Hicks family is a musical family, and they're always known for music. So my mother told me that there was a trumpet that almost all of the family members played. And she thinks that trumpet is somewhere there because the younger family members, are not pursuing it. I asked her if she's sure that trumpet would still be there. She said, yes, it was owned by your uncle, Carl Hicks, who was then living, he's now deceased, but who was then living in Canada. So I went to see my father, and he told me, yes, it was there. He went, got it. It was in a deplorable condition. The case, I think he had it was really terrible. However, I happened to got some of the holes in it soldered and plug the water holes, the saliva extensions, and we got it working again. So started with the trumpet. We went to the Defense Force camp. My second brother started playing the baritone, and my younger brother played the French horn. So we did not think about a particular instrument, any instrument that we were able to get our hands on. And that is how I started playing the trumpet.
Well, you know, since growing up, you know, I used to compose little verses and so on. I would make up a rhyme on anything, you know. That was my favorite thing growing up. And, you know, in later teens, you know, a lot of us, particularly the guys in Sandy Point, but a lot of us in the country, we would get together and just rhyme and so on. And we had a little group in Sandy Point. We used to do extempo, pecan, you know. In those days, Sparrow and Melody was on stream, and there was that Sparrow and Melody Calypso War. And we did that, and I fancied myself as being very good at making Calypso rhyme. But, you know, my father lived in St. Thomas, and I visited him almost every vacation. After the first visit, I found myself in St. Thomas. And he had a tenant in an apartment from Trinidad who was much of a Calypsonian. He was always on his guitar practicing. He sang at one of the hotels. So I was always around with him. And he too used to do this extempo and making rhyme. And I used to spar with him in that line. Only to find that on a subsequent visit, the Lord Christo, a great Calypsonian, he's now dead, out of Trinidad, was his friend. And so he used to interact with himself at Christo and join in the rounds of extemporaneous singing nightly. And I began to feel myself measuring up until Sparrow came and visited the group. And so when Sparrow heard me as a green, not from Trinidad, Sparrow said to me, he said, "But listen, you're really good." But in those days, if Sparrow says so, he's so. And I always remember, if Sparrow say I good, Sparrow convinced me. It was only even, you know, patronizing, make me feel good. Sparrow said that you're good, and Sparrow says so, he's so.